I'd like to call this regular city council meeting of March 11, 2013 to order, and we would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rolling me over, big boy.
Roll call shows all are present. I'd like to review the minutes of February 25th, 2013.
I move the minutes.
Did you have further discussion? Did you have a question?
I have, further discussion. On the attendance, we noted that the mayor was absent with notice.
Meaning what?
That you weren't there.
With notice?
Yeah, we knew
Not-
where you were.
Oh, okay.
Was excused.
That's what I'm asking. Was I excused?
I don't recall that vote.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Monthly bills. Anything pop up to you?
I move the bills.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approve of the agenda. I personally would like to see us move council comments again to above the closed session. I think it's only for our sake of our audience that they should be able to hear.
I'll move the agenda as amended.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public comment. At this time, if anybody wishes to speak, they can come up here, state their address and name, and speak
All right.
on any issue not on the agenda.
Well, my issue's not on the agenda, but it's something that was in the newspaper. My
You
name's
state your-
Daryl. My
okay.
name's Daryl Dix. I'm actually a New Hudson, Lyon Township resident, but I reside in Green Oak. It's a long story. I'm a subscriber to WOW. I'm here in regards that I'm a lifetime South Lyon person. I work in this community. I'm the warranty supervisor and superintendent for Healy Homes. We provide quality homes that brings a quality home buyer in here to expand this tax base and create a better quality of life for everyone in this community. You know, I kind of take pride in it. I learned it from a young age watching Mr. Wallace taking pride in my community. Enough about me. What I'm here is I'm here in regards to the newspaper article that I got on Wednesday, because I buy it every Wednesday night, and it's got Councilman Kivel here on the front. And a bunch of, what I would like to say, kind of like accusations and false misrepresentation of fact with no due diligence to Mr. Wallace, his family, or South Lyon Community Cable here, or cable television here. I know you're smirking. That's really, really classy. First of all, I happen to be pretty involved with SLC TV. I've never been paid. My friends, they do a lot of volunteer work. I've carried cameras. I've loved it. I thought it's a heck of a tribute to this community. I know what goes into it, what Mr. Wallace, his family, the sacrifices that everyone makes to this program. And to read in the paper that he's doing it for some personal gain, like this is some kind of, it's just a blasphemy. It's unbelievable, the countless hours and the time that everyone spends. And I do have a long list of things to go over. I'm going to just try and touch on some here. You know, as far as Mr. Kibble, you're quoted in the paper and all this. One, you're a councilman. You represent this community. You know, you kind of owe it to the community to maybe do a little bit more research and get more facts and information before you let the Herald and quote you. And this Mr. Perry, who I don't even know, you know, once again, I don't know how long he's been part of this community. But it says here, you know, you have some comments about the channel, what's aired on it, what's on it. public channels aren't widely watched, according to Perry, who thinks that the forum offers a lot of potential to share information about ordinances, schedules, policies, updates, initiatives, recycling, water department, other local happenings. An extremely underutilized city resource that's been poorly operated for 30 years. Well, with the finances that they've had, it's been operated phenomenally. It's amazing that it still goes on. I can remember a time that I was told in high school that we weren't going to get our games broadcast. It might sound silly to everyone else, but when you're someone in this community growing up, you like strive for that. You want to be on that TV. That's our ESPN. Mr. Wallace, out of his own pocket, made that happen for us. For us. Not for any personal gain, man. For no personal gain. So we could be on the TV. This here that Mr. Perry wrote, I don't know if he has the channel, but I happen to watch it. I watch your guys' meetings. I watch the minutes, what the city's doing. Everything that he says that it should be on here, I think that the school schedule's on there, the lunch menu's on there, all the midwinter breaks, everything that the paper printed is kind of like, I don't know, false. It's, kind of weird. I didn't want to really come up here and speak and all this stuff, but I felt I needed. I don't think that anyone's done any research into this. I believe that the press, the Herald, and even yourself, you kind of owe the Wallaces and their family and the people at SLC TV almost like an apology for going in the front page of the paper. It's like mudslinging. I don't know if it's for personal gain. If it's like there was a comment in there that I don't believe anyone should profit from a government resource, especially based on high school football games. Anyone that knows anything about SLC TV knows that there's no profit for any personal gain or benefit. He does it out of the goodness of his heart for the better and the enrichment of this community so people can see what's going on in the community. It knows. It's been going on for 31 years. I don't know how long you've lived here or been a part of this, but I've seen it my whole life in this community, and I hate to see it go. I hate to see stuff like this about someone. When you think of South Lyon, you think of Ted Wallace. You think of the guy who was a school teacher that retired from this community. You think of the guy that's in the coffee shop every morning and goes to Brown's at lunch every day and patronizes every single local business around here and never has a personal agenda or anything set aside, but for the better enrichment of everyone in this room, everyone in this community. The South Lyon Herald, I believe everyone, I think that they all owe him an apology, And I don't, there's a couple other things I really wanted to touch on. I know some other people would like to speak, but I'm also kind of a personal friend of the Wallaces and the family. And I'm aware of a conversation when Mrs. Wallace, she called you to kind of maybe educate you in these matters, when everyone, what you have to understand, when you open the front page of the paper in a community, to your dismay, that would be a little disheartening. But it's my understanding that you're an official, you ended the conversation with FU. And for someone that represents a community, whether you're talking to me, Carl, Mrs. Wallace, anyone, that is so unprofessional and so disgusting to think that even comes out of your mouth, no matter if it's the mayor's wife or anyone, man. It's a lack of professionalism on your part, and it just supports it here with everything that's in the paper and commented. I'm going to give other people a chance to speak before I get even more upset with what I read about some good people that really care about this community, and you should take lessons from them, man. You should take lessons from them.
Well, I feel an obligation to take
I
a
don't need to
moment
hear what you have to say.
You need to read that story again.
You are out of order. We don't
Because
comment back.
The
You are out of order. You do
only
not
comment
comment
that I
back.
had in there was the
Third
the part
time, you
about
are
we need
out of
to-
order. You are breaking the Roberts rule that we established, that we do not comment back to the people.
Well, we'll return to this at the end of the meeting.
There's where you get your chance. Thank you.
Classy.
Now you understand how we do it.
Very cool.
Anybody else wish to speak?
Good evening, Dan Pelchat, 617 Old Pond. I also work for South Lyon Community Schools Technology Department. Just adding to the comments Mr. Dix had about the TV station, I felt it was very much off base. Anyone that's watched SLC TV knows that 90% of the programming on there is actually frames about the ongoings in the community, whether it be involved with the school district or in fact, I know for a fact I had to come in here and put a video on about the new water lines that have been put in town to make sure people knew what was going on, what the progress, what could be expected from that. And, anyone that watches SLC TV knows that 90% of it is frames and not actual footage of anything. I would also say this, that SLC TV has welcomed with open arms other programming. In fact, from me, I do the South Line varsity basketball and hockey games. And I think the issue is not the availability for people to be able to air programs. It's more or less they're just not committed to put the time and effort in with the technology that we have in this television studio. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a glorified closet with ancient technology. It takes about 5 to 6 hours of time, give or take. That's if something doesn't fail on you while you're doing it, to put a game together. So it's not that SLC TV doesn't welcome other programming. It's just a fact of putting in that type of effort and time to get that done. So that was very unfortunate to read too. And I'd also say that the article in the Herald, the problem with that is a lot of people in town, especially the elderly couples and people in town that get our channel, read this and think of it as fact that now Ted does gain from this, and I can tell you that it couldn't be further from the truth. We carpool the games. It's a very bare bones programming. This is not WXYT Channel 7 in there as much as you may like to think that. So on top, that's really just all I had to say. He hasn't been mayor for 31 years. This entire time that he's been running this television station and keeping it alive, it may just seem like he's been mayor for 31 years. So thank you.
Hi, my name's Jay Hammer, 413 Wellington in South Lyon here. I've been a resident of South Lyon for over 25 years now. I also helped Ted for a couple years do statistics for the football games too. I was never paid. It was never talked about being paid. The reason that I did it is the same reason that you guys should be praising Ted, is he cared about South Lyon. As a mayor, all he cares about is the fiscal responsibility of this city. And SLC TV was just something that every kid, every football player, my son included, played football. Everybody watches it. The football coaches watch it. Everybody watches it, enjoys it, and they watch it over and over and over and over. And I'd spend 8 hours, 10 hours watching the same thing over and over to see a play that I might have saw before. That article really upset me when I first read it, and literally you guys should be praising Ted. I know he doesn't make money. He might get a barter of some salt, but the people that advertise with him have been doing it for 25 years or 30 years. They don't give him a ton of money. They give him enough money so he can pay for his gas and maybe give him salt. He doesn't get stuff from him. I know that. I've seen it, and that's why that article really bothered me. And if anything, you should be praising Ted, because if the football stops because of this, then there's going to be a lot of upset people. Upset.
Carl Richards, 390 Lennox. I've known Mr. Wallace for 40 years, and I knew his older brother, who's been deceased for a long time, for at least 50 years. And his mother was on council, and I had an uncle by the name of Claude Tapp who served on city council many years ago. And Mrs. Wallace and the rest of their family's dedication was always a remarkable inspiration to my uncle, whose name was Claude Tapp. I don't work for SLC TV, but long before SLC TV was ever formed, I was in the press box and the stand up there in the grandstands at South Lyon football games. And the predecessor of SLC TV was a man named Dr. Padelford, William Padelford, who filmed games and did not provide the audio. That was provided by a man named Ed Phillips and later his son. But Doc Padelford did it from the late 50s on through the 60s and on into the early 70s, shortly before the formation of SLC TV. And I was up there, and it's a thankless job. It's cold. The only thing you're doing is satisfying, your urge to benefit the team by spotting for individuals, trying to make a call on a yardage gain or something like that, and you're not getting paid for it, and you're doing it out of community spirit. And Ted Wallace has done this for years, and he knows exactly what it takes in dedication to make it to every game, no matter where it is, out of town or whatever. And I just leave you my personal thoughts on the matter. Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else wish to speak? All right, we can move on to old business, which we have none. And then to new business is tri-party funds.
The Road Commission is inquiring as to how the city wants to spend the tri-party funds this year, which comes to $26,587. We have not used 2012's, which was $25,461. And we also put in for a share of some unused money last year, and we received $33,408. They told me at the time there was a caveat that we had to use it in the construction season of 2013. So what I'm suggesting is that we combine all that and put it towards repaving East Lake Street from Pontiac Trail down to the railroad tracks. That would be a total cost of approximately $209,000. With the city paying 152 of that, the county would pay 56,970 of tri-party funds. Now, we could utilize that tri-party funds for something else as well. If we ever go to do Dixboro, or we could save up 12 and 13's money, but we would, I think, lose out on the 33,000 that was left over from accumulation of all of the tri-party funds that was not used over the last several years. A lot of information.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mike.
All right, maybe my math is off. The total project was 209
Yes, sir.
approximately, and then of that, we qualify for 85,000?
Yes, sir, 85,456. But remember, we still pay a third of that.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, Joe.
Mr. Murphy, I have a very quick question. Just curious if there was any, I'm sure this has been done in the past, but the estimates for widening Pontiac Trail. I saw in one of the notes here that may be a recommendation that they suggested was between 8 and 9 mile, perhaps?
That's fine.
We've never really, or since I've been here, we've never really looked at that because it's still a bottleneck on either end of 11 Mile Road and 10 Mile Road. So I guess there's never really been talk from the council, from our engineers, from people before me in doing that. That was always just kind of the county's wish. And I think it would be so expensive. It's just, I would rather see us put our money into repaving some of the roads.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking to see if there's any sort of estimate, ballpark, the small strip that we have there.
I'm sorry, Joe, was that between 8 and
Just
9?
this
or-
year.
Yeah, between 8 and 9.
I believe the list that was provided, that you're referring to, is the county recommendation to investigate use of the funds for widening Pontiac Trail, either for the south end of the city or the north end. Historically, we have, and in fact, the city has actually designed a widening project for the north end of the city, basically from CSX Railroad to 11 Mile Road.
Jesse, just please introduce who you are for the sake of our TV audience.
Jesse Van de Creek with Hubble, Roth and Clark Consulting Engineers, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. So although we haven't estimated the cost to widen on the south end, the cost to widen on the north end was estimated in approximately a decade ago in the amount of about $750,000, approximately $750,000. And I believe at that time the council and the city manager were attempting also to use tri-party funds. But as you can see, the amount of those tri-party funds,
absolutely.
even if you save them up for 3 years, which I believe you're allowed to do, still requires the city to foot the lion's share of a project of that nature, which would be in excess of $500,000.
Yeah, certainly, and I think for many residents, you can feel my sympathy waiting on Pontiac Trail for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes sometimes, so.
Hopefully with Griswold getting done
Griswold,
next
right.
year, that should help alleviate some of that. And we will be talking with the two townships in both road commissions about Dixboro between 8 and 9.
Okay, thank you.
That's actually in the city, too.
We're gonna need a light at Griswold. It's gonna have to happen.
Anybody got any other thoughts on this? Kind of like the first one Dave threw out, maybe save some money, what we can save towards the Griswold Road. I think if we can help a little bit there, it would benefits all in the entire area. And Lake Street's starting to deteriorate, and occasionally we have to take care of our household. That particular hallway needs to be fixed.
I'm sorry, sir, are you suggesting to put it towards East Lake Street? Or
The newer,
towards
the
Griswold?
older money we gotta use, and we better, yeah, I'm saying I'd like to see us do the project for Lake Street.
Okay.
You said, but the newer monies could be hung on to, then we maybe place some of that towards Griswold Road.
Yes, sir, but that throws the numbers off then.
Does it?
It's just as far as the 152 from the city would
Harvey.
go up.
Well, Griswold project is going to be done when? Next year?
Yes, sir,
14?
that's my understanding,
And
yes,
so
sir.
we'll have another appropriation
That's
then,
correct.
as will all of the
That's
other
what I was
communities.
yeah, that's what I was leading
So
up to.
that's that's an opportunity for us next year to look at it, and it would probably be a good use for that tri-party.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep.
Well, does Lyon have any money in that project, the Griswold project?
Lyon Township?
Yeah.
Well, they'll be responsible for that match.
Yeah, so I mean,
But they will be coming to us asking for some help with that match. We've helped them before, from my understanding, and, you know.
Yeah, we have.
We've got to work on these things together.
and like a year's worth of tri-party money, it seems like a reasonable a portion of, of assistance, but, I mean, everybody's fighting for the same dollar. So we've got an awful lot of our own roads that need attention. I mean, why wait till Lake gets really bad? So,
Yeah.
I'm the one who suggested it.
yeah. Yeah, I think we should move forward with doing this Lake Street project.
Somebody want to make a motion to that?
Yeah, I make that motion.
I'll support that motion.
Now, further discussion?
So, Mr. Mayor, are you suggesting we do it as presented?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, because of the newer monies coming in, that's what I was referring to,
Okay.
that Harvey pointed out.
Just wanted to make sure.
Nope, you don't have to adjust.
Okay.
And Jesse's gonna do everything he can to cut corners and make it better for us in the long run.
Always does.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay. Now, the agenda was amended, and now this is, at this time, well, actually, let's do the manager's report, if we can slide that in as part of it.
I really have nothing except to ask you about the Capitol Conference. Ted, you were gone. It's April 9th and 10th. If you have an interest, please let Lisa know. All of you, please let Lisa know so we can get under the early bird special, which I think ends next week.
Okay.
The other thing was, if you have any leftover budgets, please bring them in to me so I can reuse the binders and the spacers. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Gwen?
I don't want to do an awful lot of back and forth, but I do want to end up, I think it was Mr. Dix, if I'm not mistaken. You had alluded to a whole bunch of comments that I had made where I think if you read the story over again, you'll find that essentially I thought that my comment was that we should look into ways that we can improve the quality and the programming on our cable station, and that was the extent of my comment. So I would like to say many of us at City Council have had conversations with residents requesting to improve the quality and content of Channel 19 broadcast. Recently, our resident had emailed a few of us on city council to outline their concerns and desire to see significant improvements to programming, messaging, and the quality of the video and audio transmitted to our residents. I thought it was a good time to propose the city council take charge of our asset and take advantage of the talent and skills of our residents and capitalize on the human interest and historical stories that exist in our city. We can also plan to use technology to bring high-quality picture and sound to your TV, automate the system to present items in a schedule that can be displayed to allow viewers to plan their time to watch things they find interesting. I think the best first step would be to create a cable channel commission to serve as in the same advisory capacity as do our Planning Commission, Parks and Recreation Commission, Historical Commission, and most recently our Cultural Arts Commission. To that end, I'd like to add this item to our next meeting as an agenda item and allow dialogue on the subject.
Okay. Aaron?
A little bit ago, I spoke with Chief about the light that's at McHattie and Pontiac Trail. And apparently, I'm bringing it up now because County Commissioner is here, and he said he had it fixed that one day. And it stayed fixed for about a month. It did, I will give you that, but it is no longer fixed. I got to the light and it was red when I got there, and I sat there for another 4 minutes today to come to this meeting. And actually, I've learned to live with it, but somebody contacted me last week about it. And so since you were all in the room, I decided, hey, why not express that during council comments? So if there's something we can do to change the timing on that light so that the people that are driving on McHattie don't spend 4+ minutes at that light.
I'll be more than happy to call the Traffic Safety Division tomorrow. There's a possibility that it's not timing per se. Very often when I call them, I find out that a camera, the communications ability of the county to communicate with the camera and their computer system has failed. I'm anticipating that will be their answer tomorrow, but I will have a thorough discussion with them, and it will be tomorrow.
Thank you. I'm good, Ted, thanks.
Okay, Joe?
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly speak about Mayor Wallace. It was, reading the article in the paper, I just want to say that I feel that Mayor Wallace should be praised instead of anything that has to do with accusations, because it was very disheartening to read that. He's been here much longer than me, obviously, and ever since he's been
That's
here,
a little disheartening.
I know that he serves his community and he does it out of the goodness of his heart. And like I said, he should be praised for what he does with our TV. So thank you, Mayor Wallace.
Thank you, Joe. Harvey?
I'm good, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mike?
Yeah, on the next rec center committee meeting is March 18th, 7 p.m. at City Hall. The public is invited. We're going to be discussing our proposals for a request for, what is it, RFPs? Request for proposals, I'm sorry. Had a little slip there. But we are putting together requests for proposals that hopefully we will be sending out to various firms in the next month to 45 days. So public is invited to attend March 18th, 7 p.m. here at City Hall.
You're asking for input then?
Yes, thank you. And volunteers. Thanks.
Okay, Bev?
I'm good.
Okay. Certainly I could say a lot of stuff. I talked to, in the what's his name again? The other guy in the article?
Perry.
Mr. Perry has approached me before, a couple years ago, I think. And I said, any program you can put together, we'll gladly play it. You can become involved. To listen and read what's in the paper it's like it's a coup d'etat going on. It's like they want to take over the station. That doesn't. There's lots of room for all. There's no need for that. But if you want to be competitor, Channel 18 sits with nothing on it forever. That's run by Green Oak. Maybe you could approach Green Oak Township, get them active, show how good you can be. Be a competitor if that's what you want to be. Or you can be part of us. It doesn't matter. You could have at least talked to me before you go to the newspaper. And that includes you, Mr. Kibble. I won't get into the conversation and with what you did with my wife, but that's a personal thing that's really was uncalled for. And again, I invite Mr. Perry, with all his equipment and all his wonderment, put some programming together. Give yourself your credits. I don't care. It would benefit the community. Don't condemn what's been done when you lived here for 5 years and said it's been awful for 30 years. Of course, he's not here tonight, is he? No, you would think he'd be here. The interest was there for him. Why isn't he here?
He's got a prior commitment.
Okay.
He's a Boy Scout leader.
Okay, wonderful. Well, let's not get into all the things I do either. But I still, like I say, I have apologized to my family. I stole family time from them. Their entire lives. And in that phase, I blew it. But I did it for the kids of the community. And I'm sure there'll be many more would come and say how much they've enjoyed seeing their faces on TV. The bands, the pom-poms, the cheerleaders, the parades, and the historical tapes. My God, we did dozens of those. We had historical people, and we did those, and we've done them. They're in our archives. And I did it without any city funding. The equipment belongs to SLC TV, not the city. We're like I said, we are just scraping to get by, but we do it. And many times I did fund with my family money to keep us going. I stand by that I think I did some good in this community. And that's where I'll end it here on that note. Thank you. And now we have a closed session we have to go to, and
I make a motion, we move to closed session, discuss the utility pursuant to Section 8H of the Open Meetings Act.
I'll second.
We have to do a roll call vote.
Yep.
Okay. Kibble?
Yes.
Bukowski?
Yes.
Rizzi?
Yes.
Wallace?
yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Can we take 2 minutes?
2-minute break. Okay, yes, everybody said yes? Okay.
Look at that.
All right, we'll take a short break. We have to clear the house.